So UFC 301 is coming up, in case anybody forgot. Pantoja is going to be fighting Steve Erceg. Who's Steve Erceg? He is an entertaining guy in the flyweight division that they had the pull out of the top 10 rankings to fight Pantoja. Steve Erceg didn't think he was going to be fighting Pantoja. Nobody else did. I want to be 100% honest with you. I only vaguely knew who Steve Erceg was because of the cool KO that he got. Other than that, there was not a world where I thought the UFC would be desperate enough to just give Steve Erceg a title. I didn't think we were that far gone in flyweight. And understand, this is the UFC admitting that flyweight is a dead division. It is. It is. In this video, I just want to talk about the problems with UFC 301, how we got here, and how the UFC has just kind of resigned themselves to not fixing it. You know what, let's just get into this. Yeah, ultimately, I have tried to make like 2 other videos today for this channel, and I've lacked motivation because of this. Every time I make a video, I just reminded that UFC 301 is pretty bad. Let's go through the card real quick, just so you guys know what we're dealing with. We're starting with the early prelims. Let's be real here. This is a Brazil card. The Brazilian guys are coming in. Bonfim, Ismael Bonfim. That's pretty good. I ain't gonna lie. That is a decent early prelims. Brazilian woman. Pick the Brazilian woman. Brazilian beats Lithuania. Mauricio Ruffy. Jamie Malarkey's not terrible, but Mauricio's getting this shit done. Joaquim Silva. If you don't know who Joaquim Silva is, He fought Clay Guida at Armin Sarukian a while back. That's really about I can say for him. Then we're out of the early prelims, and then we're getting into, oh my lord, legitimately the best dude on the prelims is the dude whose name looks like it comes out of Word Scramble, because I could have sworn I saw that same face from fucking Far Cry Primal. And then we get out of here. I mean, Jack Sore's not terrible, but I mean, like, there's only so much entertaining you're bringing in here. And then we go to the main card, which, I'm not even kidding you, looks like a UFC fight night. Like, Paul Craig versus Kyle Barillo. Okay, I wanted Kyle Barillo versus the one-eyed Russin. Okay, like, I think that's a miss. Marcel Pereira versus Ihor Pateria. If you guys don't know who Ihor is, his last fight was against Mauricio Soganhua, and he got booed because imagine fighting an old man and celebrating like that. I hope Ihor gets done dirty by Pereira. And then for the Anthony Smith versus Vitor Petrino. Hopefully this is just a death sentence for Anthony Smith and they can just get him done out of here. And then we go into my most anticipated fight of the entire card. And when I'm debating buying this card legitimately, it is, will I pay $80 for Jose Aldo to win or lose against Jonathan Martinez? And I'll get into the problems of that when we're done going over this. But there's even a problem with this fight that nobody's really talking about. And then we have the main event, Pantoja versus Steve Erceg. Understand, this was not meant to be the main event. I have proof of that. And that's your card. Okay, and then we're going to UFC St. Louis. So what's the problem? Okay, number one, this is a Brazil card. The UFC knows that all they have to do to make Brazilian fans somewhat happy is they just pack the card with Brazilian UFC fighters that nobody really cares about. Okay, that's the fact. There's a few good ones here, not a lot. Do you know how I know the UFC realizes how bad this card was? Because they pulled Jose Aldo out of retirement to fight on this card. That's how I know they're cooked. The problem with the Jose Aldo fight that nobody wants to bring up, it's not the fact that Jose Aldo is old. It's not the fact that this could be just a cash grab for the UFC. That's not the problem. It's the fact that this is the last fight. Jose Aldo's already said, win or lose, he is going to retire against Jonathan Martinez. So why are we watching? We're watching Jose Aldo fight Jonathan Martinez. What does this fight mean? Like, what is the secret sauce behind this fight? There is no sauce here. There's no substance here. This is almost it. Jose Aldo is basically participating in a nothing burger of a fight. It is. That's what it is. It lacks substance. And how I know this is Jose Aldo said that if he beats Jonathan Martinez, that would have made it so he fought out his entire contract, and he's going to go into free agency, and he wants to fight on the undercard of the Jake Paul vs. Mike Tyson card. On fucking Netflix, bro. Understand that if Jose Aldo was when he signed a new contract, or he's still under contract, and there's still more fights, that would not happen. The UFC would do everything in their power to make it so Jose Aldo wouldn't fight on that card. The UFC is very petty when it comes to allowing their fighters fight in other combat sports that have striking. That's always been known. If you don't believe me, not Jose Aldo, GSP was supposed to fight Oscar De La Hoya in a boxing match. But guess what? GSP is still technically under contract in the UFC, and they told him no, or we're going to sue you. So yeah, it's fair to say Jose Aldo is no longer under contract and will be entering free agency. The problem I have with that is not him boxing, it's the fact that makes this fight mean nothing. Like, you could have given Jose Aldo a name in that division that would have meant something a little bit more. A little bit more substance. Do a Jose Aldo versus Dominic Cruz. Have a fun fight like that. I understand that's Jose Aldo going up a division. I don't care. Wait, no. Yeah. Would it be? No. He wouldn't have to go up the division. Jose Aldo versus Dominic Cruz. You could have done that. If you're going to do a legacy fight, might as well do a legacy fight. If we can let John Jones versus Stipe Miocic pass, why can't we let Jose Aldo versus Dominic Cruz pass? That is infinitely more interesting because there is a legacy component to it. It's not for a belt. He's not chasing to become a champion. It is him getting one last bag, because I guarantee you the UFC paid him a big bag to be on this card, so he could potentially go out on a win. So the Jose Aldo fight just lacks substance to me, and it hurts me, because that is the fight that I will pay for. And I'm struggling with that. And then we go to the main event. Alexandre Pantoja versus Steve Erceg. Understand, if you're buying this card, you're buying this card with the hope that Steve Erceg beats Pantoja. That is really it. This was meant to be the co-main because Alex Pereira versus Jamal Hill was meant to be the main event. That was the main event. Do you know how I know that? Because Israel Adesanya versus Dricus du Plessis was targeted for UFC 300 to be the main event. And that couldn't happen because Dricus wanted to fight in Africa. So they needed somebody to be at 300. Bring. Okay, Pereira, you're in. Sorry, you want to fight at 301. We'll give you a special contract where you can fight on 300 and 301 if you're not injured. Does that to Jamal Hill, and people are wondering, oh, I guess Pereira wasn't serious about fighting at 301. No, they told him no because he broke his fucking pinky toe. I'm not kidding. That is the reason he's not on this card. He would have fought Magomed Ankalaev. It's just frustrating because 301 got messed up because of 300. And at the end of the day, I'm only venting about that because this could have been better. It lacks substance. There's filler fights on this card. Anthony Smith versus Vitor Petrino. They only put this card on because they needed somebody. They needed two people with a ranking that have a slight inkling of a name and with a Brazilian. Anthony Smith, somewhat of a name, got his ass beat by Khalil Roundtree and Johnny Walker. Vitor Petrino, Brazilian. Marcel Pereira has a name, is coming off a win. Okay, who's the dude that the Brazilian people want to see get his ass beat? Ihor. Aight. Paul Craig has a name. Caio Barillo, promising Brazilian prospect. So, okay. Let's speak to what this actually is. UFC Fight Night main card. UFC Fight Night. Maybe a co-main for a Fight Night. Could be the main event of I don't even know about that. Maybe a co-main to a Fight Night. And a title fight. UFC 301 is not a good card, okay? They are aware of this. Look at the numbers that 301 is drumming up. The biggest piece of marketability that they have is Jose Aldo. But then if you go into that fight, it's a nothing burger. It is. This fight card could have been good if they had Alex Pereira, which he was meant to be on. This is an incomplete product. I'm going to be honest with you. I would not buy this card. Maybe I will watch it, maybe I won't. It depends. Maybe I can get the tax write-off on it. But I'll be real with you. This would definitely be a fight card that I would consider a pass on. Now, don't get me wrong. I think there will be some bangers on here. Because usually when a card is fairly flat, that makes the prelim fighters fight harder because they realize that they can get a payday. That's usually what ends up happening. That happened with UFC 296. The main card was pretty meh, so a lot of the prelim fighters fought their fucking hearts out. That's how you got like those... Like, dude, a women's fight was better than the actual championship fight at the UFC 296 card. That's a fact. And to drown this out, the promotion for this fight is terrible. But, like, I understand the problem that they're having. Because how do you promote Pantoja versus Usyk? We know Usyk wasn't supposed to be fighting for the title. It was supposed to be the winner of Muhammad Mokaev and Alex Perez. But guess what happened? That fight was so bad that people actively wanted Mokaev to get robbed because all he did was a 1-2 takedown, but failed the takedowns. He was a less impressive Merab Dvalishvili. How do you F up that bad? I understand he's young, but your performance costed you a title shot and you won. Like, that's some Bilal Muhammad levels of passed up. So, they looked through the rankings. They were like, oh, fuck. Okay. Who can we give a title shot to? Okay, we got Brandon Royval. He's coming off a win against Brandon Moreno. Can we do Royval versus Pantoja again? That fight was kind of a snoozer. And this one's already kind of struggling. Okay, fuck. We can't do Royval. What about Moreno? Can we throw Moreno into a rematch again? No, because Moreno lost to Royval. Fuck. Okay. Who else do we got? Do we have anyone else with a name? Manel Cap. Okay. Manel Cap, all you gotta do is beat Nicolau, and you can make it to... Nope. Couldn't make it. Couldn't make it to the fight. Fuck. Okay. Who else do we got? Who's one dude with a name that's slightly marketable in the division? Steve Usyk. And that's how you got the main event. UFC 301, I'm sorry, it's not a great card. I'll be real with you, though. I think the early prelims and the prelims are going to be bangers purely because these guys are going to realize that they have a better chance at getting the fight of the night bonus than anybody up here. They are fully aware of that. The only dude they have to worry about is Marcel Pereira versus Ihor Potieria. That's really all they got to worry about. But, like, bro, this man right here, this man from Kazakhstan, okay, could bring home all the money to buy all the goats, to have his own land. Okay, that's all he has to do. Get a fight. Like, the prelims are going to be heat on this card because they're all going to be working harder because they realize that they can actually win something. I don't know. I think it's like Mika Dikabek versus Olabai. Here's a picture of him. I can't pronounce his name. But yeah, okay. I know this sounded like a complaining video, and it is. I'm sorry. UFC 301 is pretty bad. And I'm sick of people trying to gaslight me into thinking that this is a great card. You can call it decent at best if you're really going to gaslight me on here. Don't tell me that this is a great or stacked card, bro. Stop it. Get some help. But there you go. That's going to be today's video. Please consider a like, comment, subscribe for daily MMA content. I haven't missed one in a minute. There's been daily MMA content. It's always something on this channel. I have a link to the Discord that you can do video suggestions in there. And I also have a link to the second YouTube channel where I just cover other random stuff. That's going to be it for this video. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.